Welcome to our program. And in addition to our painting lessons, we're also going to start interviewing some local artists in our area to see how they come up with their creativity and how they paint. And so we're going to have them on art and imagination. Anything that you can imagine, you can draw. Let's go to the studio. Hi, and welcome back to this fantastic watercolor program this morning. We're going to continue on with our landscape with our trees and the mountains and a little stream coming down through. So I'm happy to have you back, and I'm happy to be here. And let's get started with our painting. So let's look at this all down through here of what we've done so far. We've got our trees in there on each side, but we're going to do a little bit more on that. So let's get this watercolor going. Now we've gone off of the grid here that we've got for our tree. So we're going up over the top of that. Because remember, we put down a mat and we traced the square of the mat. And so we can go outside, so you can paint outside the lines on this kind of a painting. So I have so much fun with landscapes, and there's just so much out there to paint, and especially with spring coming up. You can really get out with your watercolor pad and just keep on moving and keep on trooping. Now this tree over here, we're going to make a little bit smaller down into to make the distance. So you will see that having the trees placed like they are, that it gives a distance within the mountains being way back in the background. And the closer that it gets over here to the front of this painting, the darker it gets. So we move this paint really easy, and we're going to have it going down into the creek, the little roots and stuff. So let's do that. That's interesting. We want to make it interesting. And we're going to do several layers. Remember, watercolor is layered. And we want to have ours layered too. So I'm going to put in a branch here, and it's just so easy to do. It's just let that brush go, and it'll take you wherever you want. And let's continue even up. We've got to connect those branches though. And I use my little finger as a guide so many times to keep everything straight. And that's something that you will probably find that you will be doing too. And the more branches you can put in, the more interesting. So I'm going to I just dipped into the water really heavy. So I want to make thinner branches because this tree is farther back. So he's got to have some smaller branches. And let's make him with a little bit wider trunk on this dark side. So let's just keep going, and we'll have that. And it's okay to have this kind of separated here. That makes it more interesting also. And little squirrels are going to appreciate that we give them a nice tree to stay in. Okay, let's put a little more water in our paint and raise up on the pressure of the brush to make the back tree. And I hope you can see that. I hope my hand is not in the way. Well, that looks pretty good. See how that puts that back in the distance when you make these trees darker? It's just really neat. Now, the river or the stream, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be lighter back in the back, but we're going to have to bring it up a little bit darker as we get along here to the front. And I might put a little bit of dark in my blue. So I'm going to leave that for right now, but I'm going to come down through here about midway, because this is going to be the dark side. Since the tree is dark on this side, then you're going to have to make your bank dark on this side too. So you don't want just a straight line. And I want a little bit bigger bank going on there. So I'm going to just let the paint kind of fade out going up, because that will be dark on the bank up there. But we'll rinse our brush, come down, and we're going to use some of that bank water, or the bank pigment, rather, I should say. Getting my water and my pigments all messed up. And as you can see, we can fade that out, or whatever you want to call it, blend it out. And just using water will help. So that looks pretty good. I want to go back in there in that bush area back in there, and I think we can make that a little bit better, I think. And I'm going to use blue and some green, a little bit of green, a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown maybe, and I make me a darker color. But I don't want it as dark as my trees up here. I just want to give it a new, fresh look back in there. Yeah, I think that'll work. And I want to kind of leave some pigment there, as if it's a bunch of trees instead of trees that are just all straight up and down. So I'm going to go that way. This is so much fun. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. And we're just making a nice background of trees back in there. It looks a little bit warmer when you put stuff that is looking better back there. Like a tree line. Coming from the farm, I like a tree line. We always had a tree line in our pasture. Okay, now that's our light color that we're putting in. And see, I'm just tapping the brush. Now I kind of want to give a little bit, I don't want that harsh line that we got going there, that I've got in there, I should say. So I want to phase it out a little bit, so I'm just using water. And softening that back there. That tree line. We don't want it as harsh. But I want it to be strong enough that I don't have the mountain coming through. So we got to be careful of that. We don't want the line of the mountain coming through on our paint. I want that a little bit straighter. Okay, that looks a lot better. At least in my estimation it does. All right, we're going to have to do some stumps or something like that. Along our, oh, I got into purple there. I don't want any purple just yet. Whoa, my. I guess this is my only brown. So let's put a few rocks along the river here. I think that sounds good. There's always rocks along the river. And we'll have it right up there to the edge. So, and then we got to have one down here. So it's a little bit nicer to have a friend across the river, don't you think? I think so. It's always nice to have friends anyway, especially friends that paint with you. That's wonderful. Now, as you see, I didn't put it, I left a little bit of the white canvas on there, or the green, but I'm going to go into like a kind of a tan color, what I would call tan, like a yellow. Not quite an Indian yellow, but I'm going to put up here, I'm going to combine that yellow because the sun is coming from this way. So this rock would have that kind of a highlight on it. I do believe. And since that is still wet and I'm going into the brown, the darker brown, then I'm going to have to clean my brush before I put anything else on. And you can work your rock any way you want to. I'm making mine bigger. And just bring him around. It looks like he's got a couple of eyes on there. So I'm going to have to change that. So let's just change this whole thing along here. Make my rock pretty big. Now I'm going to have to let that dry before I even fix it anymore. And I do have to fix it because it's not looking too good. But don't fear. If you feel you have made a mistake, it's not a big deal because you can fix it. And that's also fun of fixing things. Okay, since we've got a highlight there with the yellow, let's go into more yellowish highlight with the sun on this tree here. And we're just going to put a little bit of color in there of a yellow tone. And who knows, we may not leave it like that, because watercolor is fun like that. You can just push this water around any way you want it. So let's do the other tree the same way. Give it a little bit of sunlight on the trunk. And that'll bring some of that brown out too. Now, I kind of want some sunlight back in here. So we're going to continue on with that yellow because we've already got green on there, so this will make it a pretty sunlight valley, I think, going back in there. And don't cover the whole thing. Leave some of that green coming through with just a little bit of yellow going through. like it's a valley back in there. So let's get the other side. Now we don't want the whole thing to be green or yellow. And I'm going to take that root out as far as I can see it. I still got those two little eyes and that rock. Okay, we've got those rocks set up. This needs to be set up a little bit more. There's always rocks along the river. Now I'm going to go kind of back into some purple here because I've got it on my palette. And I'm going to use it with a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to bring that water from the river down a little bit. And we have a little bit of purple from the mountains, so therefore the color from the mountains will kind of hit that stream a little bit. Whoa. Watercolor is so much fun. It'll give you things that'll, just let your brush work for you. And hold your brush back in the back side too. That helps. So I think I want that blue. Let's get a little bit of blue into this. I still want this to be darker along here. Like I said, you can change this any way you want. A little purple in there. Gonna do a little light blue purplish look for shadows underneath this tree and his root and the rock. And just go up there and give this a little taste too. Okay. Now that we have this drying, let's go get some leaves on those trees. I'm going to do light first, and then I'm going to go in with some dark. But I'm going to go where these branches are, and I'm going to just kind of tap my brush like that. And make it where it looks like leaves. You just, it's not hard to watercolor. You just gotta figure out what you want. And what kind of a statement you want to make on your picture. And like I said, I'm starting out with the light first because that tells me where the light is. And then I'll go back in when the light dries, and then I'm going to put some dark in there. Got to have dark and light together. Because you got to have the light to give the right image in these trees. And your dark to give you shadow in these trees. And we're just tapping along here, just having a good time. Hope you have your coffee or tea with you. And you can bring down these branches as far as you want. You are the artist, so you make those decisions. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you mess up because we can always fix it. And I do mess up, even though I paint all the time. Sometimes I get carried away with my brushes and put too much or too little in there. So I just have to keep working at it, you know. Just like everybody has to work at it. Now, I don't have a branch there, but I think I want something coming down into there. So I'll have to go back in and make a branch. Whenever this dries. See, it's becoming to be pretty now. All right, now we'll let that dry. I'm going to go into my really dark brown on this rock again. And I'm going to kind of make him a little bit better. At least in my estimation. I hope you're working better than I am on this, pardon me, on this rock. Oh dear, I got into the purple. So clean my brush and go back into the dark brown and bring it in. It's all right to have some purple in there, because you got purple up above in those mountains. And I like a very colorful picture. And I like it to look watery. The secret to watercolor is to make it look watery. And this is a whole bunch of fun. Okay, we got to have a little sunlight coming across to catch up here. So let's put a little bit of yellow on this side of the water. Rocks are all different kinds of colors, so whatever color you want your rocks to be, that's what you should make them. I keep getting into that purple. So I'm just going to put a lot of pigment of brown. So we can get this rock in here like it should be. And always you can come back with acrylic to do some highlighting on these rocks, which is probably what I'm going to do. I've got so many colors on him now, might as well put a little bit of highlight on him with acrylic. but I'm liking the way that it's coming up. And we'll just keep working on it as we go. It's dark, but it's nice. I like it like that. I like it. This is not a watery watercolor, but the object of watercolors is to have it watery looking. And we're getting pretty close from what my watch is telling me to ending the program. But I want you, while you're at home and you have some time, I want you to work on several watercolor pages if you can, if you have the time, because I know it's time consuming. But take an hour for yourself and draw and paint. And come back next time and see me, and we'll continue with this painting right now. And we're happy to have you. And God bless, and take care. And I hope to see you again next week. So keep on working. Remember, anything that you can imagine, you can draw. So we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.